Thank you, Matt. When Animal Kingdom opens here tomorrow, it will be Disney's 4th theme park in Orlando, home to an array of real, extinct, and imaginary animals. As you can see, the crowd has gathered here already. It's spread over 500 acres, more than 5 times the size of the original Magic Kingdom. The Animal Kingdom took 3 years to build at a cost of close to $1 billion, and it's Disney's most ambitious theme park ever. These are the animals we're used to seeing at Disney World, but Mickey and friends are going on safari. Everything's been done on a grand scale at Animal Kingdom. There are 1,000 live animals on display, 4 million trees and plants, and towering above it all, the park's centerpiece, the Tree of Life, which took more than 18 months to build.
The Tree of Life is about 150 feet tall. Any animal you can imagine is represented somewhere on the surface of that tree.
The tree is located in Safari Village, the hub of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Each building there is covered with hand-carved animals from Bali, and the theme of predator and prey is everywhere. The park stars are clearly the live animals, including endangered rhinos and elephants. Most live here on a 110-acre wildlife preserve in the heart of Disney's Africa. Visitors can board a safari ride that offers them a close-up look at the animals, most of which came from zoos.
You go out into a very, very realistic and very large African savanna with herds and herds and herds of animals roaming around in it, and you have an adventure.
But showcasing live animals hasn't been easy for Disney, which recruited a who's who of zoologists and conservationists from around the country. In the last 6 months, 12 animals have died here or en route to the park, including 2 extremely rare African crowned cranes that were run over in separate incidents by the tour buses that will guide visitors through the park. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is investigating the deaths to determine whether Disney has violated the Animal Welfare Act. Animal rights activists are alarmed.
It's everything from poisonings to heart attacks, and we just have to question why this company is in the live animal business. I think they shouldn't be.
Others say the park is getting a bum rap.
It's the nature of opening a new facility that you will have problems, but it means that you need to redouble your efforts to examine everything that you're doing.
For its part, Disney says the animals are getting the best care possible from highly qualified experts, and that the goal of the park is not just entertainment, but animal conservation. But just like the real wild, there's no guarantee the animals will perform for visitors as expected. On one recent safari, these giraffes decided to snack on a bush near the main road, creating a huge traffic jam. Finally, a handler persuaded them to move out of the way.
The animals have a life of their own. We have given them a place to be, and we take you out there to be with them, but they can kind of do what they please.
For those expecting a parade, exciting rides, and their favorite characters, they're all here too. But Disney's betting the live animals will be the lure. 10 million tourists are expected the first year alone to its newest, biggest, and most expensive gamble yet. Michael Eisner is Disney's chairman and CEO. Good morning, nice to see you.
Thank you, nice to see you.
Thank you very much. The first question is the short one. Why?
We always thought the idea of doing something with animals, fantasy animals, real animals, prehistoric animals, would be appropriate for our company, and why not?
Was a lot of this based on the success of The Lion King? I'm just curious, because that seemed to be such a highly successful Disney animated movie that, did you see that as sort of an opportunity to capitalize on that?
I'd like to say yes, but actually this was in development before we even started The Lion King. I think back in '91, somebody said to me in a meeting, we were talking about a variety of different kinds of concepts around the world. How about animals? And then somebody else said, oh, Disney's Animal Kingdom. And those 3 words had magic to them, and from then, 9 years later, and a few dollars into it, I was ready to shoot the person who said Animal Kingdom.
A few dollars, about $1 billion to build this park, right?
Give or take a few $100 million.
It took about 3 years. It's about, I mean, the actual construction. It's about to open tomorrow. What's your biggest concern?
Well, that we handle everything well. We've actually been working on it 10 years. We have looked at every detail, if you will, every ashtray, every lamp, every blade of grass. We have 1,000 different species here, 1,000 different animals, 200,000 different species. Let's start again. We have 1,000 animals, 200 species, you know, thousands and thousands of different kind of plants, and just that everything works well, that our cast is friendly, that our animals are awake. I'd like the animals to be awake today.
Well, that's a real concern, isn't it? Because you are dealing with live animals, and unlike animated automatrons or whatever you use in other attractions, they have to be sort of willing to come out and see the visitors, and they, after all, have minds of their own.
Every tour is different. Every tour, you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know what the animals are going to be doing. You don't know whether they're going to be yawning or doing other such things. But I have never been on one of the tours, and I've done it about 50 times to talk to people, where something different and something interesting hasn't happened. And unlike our usual life, where we have animatronic characters and everything is very well scripted, these animals have an instinct, if not a mind, of their own.
Now, obviously, there's been some controversy that you're well aware of, the deaths of 12 animals so far. Hopefully there will be no more. Animal rights activists are obviously up in arms about this. What can you say to people this morning to assure them that these animals are being treated properly, given the fact that the government is investigating?
Well, in a year, we've had about the number of animals that you've mentioned, well under 2% of our whole population. The population in the wild that dies in a year is anywhere between 30, 40, and 90%. The animals that die in a zoo are 12 to 15%. We've had an unbelievably low amount. I do have the bad news to tell you that all the animals here will die at some point, as all the people here will die at some point. We have a living, breathing environment, and animals do die. We've had more animals born than have died, but that's part of life. There have been a couple that have died through accidents, very few, and the rest have died of each case different, and each case a natural cause.
But I know you put mirrors up on the safari to make sure that drivers could see the animals better. Any other steps you're taking to ensure their safety?
Well, we have about as good a veterinary hospital here as in the world. We have the best facility by far, as not only said by us, but said by all the zoological people. We had in our safaris a couple of cranes that we thought that the safari car had gone by, and then the cranes ran underneath the wheels, the back wheels. We put mirrors on to preclude that. But other than that one accident, which could happen to anybody, we have an excellent record. However, we are Disney. And if you have an eyelash in your eye and it seems to be attractive to a tabloid, it will get in a tabloid. So our natural amount of evolution, as you will say, got more publicity than probably most people's would.
Why do you think Disney is such a magnet for criticism and controversy?
Well, I think because we're competing with NBC. That's probably our first big problem. And secondly, the Disney name, the Disney image is, Walt started it all. When you try to do something good that appeals to families and goes toward the light, there's the dark that tries to come after you. At the same time, when you're as popular as we are, and I say that keeping my fingers crossed that we stay popular, there's a group of people that want to show that it's all coming to an end.
Ticket prices are pretty steep here. They're about, what, I have $42 a day at each park for kids between the ages of 3 to 9, $34 a day. So do you worry that it's tough for a family of 4 to afford a vacation here?
Well, the big cost, of course, is getting here. Airfare, car fare, gasoline, hotel reservations. The park itself is the least expensive park. And we have multi-day tickets and discounts tickets and all sorts of packages where it's not that expensive. But yes, it is not the least expensive thing. But we give 8, 10, 12-hour day of entertainment for what we consider so much less than a ski trip or almost anything else you can do for that amount of time. But it is a family vacation that could take a while to save up for to go do.
Meanwhile, as you well know, I don't need to tell you, the Southern Baptist Convention has boycotted the park because of the way your company, the position your company takes on gay rights and what they view as not particularly wholesome entertainment, i.e. Ellen, the TV show, and some of the other movies that they think have what sort of undercurrents of sexuality. You're well aware of this. Has that hurt your business at all? Would you tell me if it has?
Yes, I would tell you it has. We're a public company. We would have to have announced that, and we've announced just the opposite. Our earnings have gone up substantially. I think it's a very small part of the Southern Baptists. They did two things at the convention where they came out with this, and again, it's a very splinter group. They recommended that they convert the Jews. That was something that hadn't been recommended since the 40s in Europe. And they recommended that people boycott Disney because we gave same self-health benefits to people of similar persuasions. They then mentioned a few things like Ellen and stuff like that. Frankly, if they
Didn't they run some of the animated features in slow-mo and say that there were sexual things going on, which we don't need to get into?
Well, the man who made that claim said he hadn't seen the movie himself, but that he had heard that in one of our movies, one of the animators put a pornographic frame in the movie. I have tried to find it, aggressively tried to find it, and my children have tried to find it, and I don't think it's there.
In closing, will you build a fifth theme park here in Orlando?
Well, you can never say never. We're going to try to absorb this one and enjoy this one for a while. I would have an idea for down the road, which is kind of bubbling up in my mind.
A sports-related theme park?
Well, we
perhaps?
have that. We have a sports complex,
Okay.
and we could add to that, yes.
So is that the idea?
No.
No, what's the idea?
I'm not sure yet. I mean, I am sure, but I haven't got my wife to tell me she likes it yet.
Okay, well, I'll be the second to know, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Michael Eisner, very
Thank
nice
you,
to
Katie.
see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
And we'll be back in a moment. But first, this is Today on NBC.